All right, it is 2026. Happy New Year, Sonny.
Happy New Year, Brian.
We can still say it today, I think, right? How many more
January
days?
5th. We can say it for like the month.
Larry David famously said you get 3 days, and then he doesn't want to hear it anymore.
No, that's not true.
Okay.
You get a month.
All right, good. So
We're still getting used to saying 2026. We're still getting used to writing it down.
I'm still writing 2023 on my check, so there you go. We started the show today with a big story. And by the way, the weeks we've been gone, there's been so many big stories that I would have been so sure we were going to come back and lead the show with.
Yes.
And then
they just kept on topping each other, didn't
then we
they?
conquered Venezuela. So that's where we are. You said on today's show that America arresting Venezuelan President Nicolás Maduro, and I'm watching right now, he's appearing in federal court on a monitor here in this studio.
Yeah.
Early Saturday morning. It violated international law.
It did.
International law is a little nebulous in some ways for people to wrap their heads around. So
I know.
How do you feel like that will affect his trial here?
You know, I think in terms of his trial here, because it's in the United States, and we have many times had people extradited here.
Yes.
Because there are treaties, and that's really how you do it. You don't necessarily just conduct a military operation and then grab a president. You may, extradite them. So, but we've done it before, and we've extradited people, and we've tried, the Honduran president, and so I suspect, he'll get convicted, and perhaps his wife as well. But in terms of international law, when you have two different sovereign nations, one country's law doesn't necessarily trump the other, and that's why this is a world economy,
no pun
and
intended.
that's why they're growth. That's a good one. And there's there are laws of the world. That's why we have the Hague Convention, and I mean what comes to mind is Nuremberg, in the sense that you had 5 countries getting together and saying, no, what happened over here in Germany was illegal, and they tried the Germans, right? They tried people that were in the SS. They tried the Nazis, and it was sort of multi-jurisdictional, because you had the British, and you had the Americans, and you had the Russians. And so there is this international court. It's actually the highest court in the world. We have the Hague Convention for a reason, because we all have to live together. The world is much smaller than the United States. And so when I see something like a U.S. military operation without Congress declaring war, without Congress declaring that we're doing it in self-defense, without Congress declaring anything, it looks very much like an international kidnapping. It's just not how it's done, and it's offensive to me as a lawyer and as a person who is somewhat well versed in the way the Department of Justice is supposed to do things.
Right.
And I'm just offended by the entire thing. To be honest with you, I was out of the country, and when I heard about this, I thought it was fake news. I thought that it was not possible that the Navy had done this. Like, I didn't think it was possible.
Now, so the way they've defended this is they've said that it's basically the military assisting the DOJ, the military assisting the DEA and arresting somebody.
The DOJ cannot conduct this kind of military operation to enforce U.S. laws abroad without certain things like Congress, Congress approving this type of action. And it can only be done under 3 circumstances, none of which, in my view, have been met. So it's just simply illegal.
There's
from
right.
the purest sense. Any legal scholar, a true legal scholar, will tell you that what happened here was in contravention of international law.
So the answer to and again, this is the devil's advocate side of this, is he's a bad man. He's a dictator.
He
needed to be taken out. Yes.
Did he need to? He was an illegitimate president, no question. He's a dictator. He's stolen elections, but the rule of law still applies. And I would suggest that it applies even more under those circumstances. It's almost like, hate speech, or freedom of speech. You want to protect the most heinous speech. You want to apply the law in the most heinous situation. So if you have a really, really, really bad guy that needs to be held to account for his or her actions, then you do it legally. You don't do it illegally, because, two things can be true. I think we said, you can hate Maduro. You can acknowledge that he was an illegitimate dictator.
Even celebrate that he's no longer there.
And you can celebrate that he's no longer there. But the manner in which you dethrone him matters.
Well, the implications of it are concerning, just from the idea of what this means to the rest of the world.
Well, that's what the point I was trying to make. And I think maybe it was too esoteric, or maybe it was just, too granular. But the fact of the matter is, if the United States president can order the taking of the president of another country through military might, what is to stop, let's say, the Chinese president from taking the Taiwanese president? What is to stop Vladimir Putin, who, again, some would argue is illegitimate, some would argue a dictator, from taking President Zelensky of Ukraine? What kind of precedent does it set on a world stage when international law matters, when there is silence when the United States does it?
Right.
And it's also against the UN.
Well, I think the implication is that who can stop us? And they're shrugging their shoulders a little bit at that. So that's what it is.
And that's a very scary place to be, I think, if that's where our international law lies.
All right. Well, we're going to be talking.
I don't like it.
We're going to be talking more about this, obviously. We're going to be watching it. And one person we'll probably talk about it with, matter of fact, I'm sure we'll talk about it with her, is Congresswoman Jasmine Crockett, who's on the show with us tomorrow.
Yes.
And then on Wednesday, we have Congresswoman Marjorie Taylor Greene.
I'm so curious as to what they think about it.
Yeah.
I would imagine that
neither seems to be in favor, despite them being polar opposites in every other way I can think of.
Well, Jasmine is a lawyer.
Yes.
And I'm certain that it offends her sensibilities and her legal sensibilities. And then you have Marjorie Taylor Greene, who is certainly against regime change.
Well, she's fundamentally America first.
She's America first.
And frankly, that's what Donald Trump ran on, and what all of MAGA was, America first.
Yes.
To this point.
And now our taxpayer dollars, to the tune of $1 billion, to effect what I think is an illegal kidnapping of the head of state of another country. The president's saying that we'll get that money back from the oil. Stolen oil. That doesn't belong to us. Yeah. That oil doesn't belong to us. Well, tell me what you're hoping to hear from the Congresswoman we have this week, Jasmine and Marjorie Taylor. I'm interested. Jasmine Crockett is running for Senate. Yeah. You've got it's a tough place to run for Senate as a Democrat. See, I don't know. I've been chatting with some think tank people, and in terms of at least the Black vote and the rural vote, there are 3 million voters that can be tapped into that generally don't participate. Mm-hmm. If she gets the 3 million, then she wins. So I think that part is interesting, but I want to know what her plan of action is. You've got the, sort of people on the hard right, the MAGA people. They're like, this is great. This is a gift. I don't think that's true. I think she's more formidable than people think. And she's formidable. There's no question of that. I mean, if you think about it, people said the same stuff about Zoran Mamdani, that he had no chance in anywhere to win, and he was inaugurated. So I sort of put that on the same level. For Marjorie Taylor Greene, I believe that she is the same person. I asked her that the last time. Mm-hmm. She claimed that I don't know that she's no different. I think that Marjorie Taylor Greene leaving Congress has to be for aspirational purposes. I think she wants to be governor. I think she wants to be senator. I don't think that she's just going to walk away from public life. I don't see
a lot has happened. You were traveling. I know there was a big profile of her in the New York Times, which I'm sure you'll read before she's on if you haven't seen it already.
I sure will read that.
Yeah, it's interesting. Her takes on a lot of, I recommend everybody read it. Her takes on a lot of the things that have happened. She's talking about conversations she had with President Trump about the Epstein files and comments he made to her
spilling
about
the tea.
Yeah, it's interesting whether she's fundamentally changed or she's basically saying she was naive before, incredibly naive.
I can believe that. I mean, she had no career in politics. I don't think that she's a lawyer. I think that, she ran a CrossFit. She was, very into CrossFit and ran some sort of construction company.
CrossFit's hard.
Yes, I hurt myself in CrossFit. But I think that she was probably incredibly naive about the ways of Washington politics. She came from some small town in Georgia, right? So yeah. I believe that. But I think she's a pretty big age. She's in her 50s. And at big ages, you don't change. You just change behaviors to get what you want.
Oh, well, we'll find out more. I'm excited to have her back. I think it was an interesting conversation last time, and there's a lot more to talk about now.
Yeah.
All right, let's talk about some celebrity news.
Okay.
Jennifer Lopez, a favorite of yours, recently opened up about her relationship deal breakers. And she said that anyone who wants her love has to earn it by treating her right, respecting her, and accepting her fully, which makes you wonder if she hasn't felt like the men in her past have done this.
That's the implication.
Yeah. What do you think of relationship deal breakers?
I think you have to be really introspective when it comes to relationships, friendships and romantic relationships, and business relationships. And to say like that person has to understand me. It's a deal breaker if they don't get me. They don't treat me well. It
feels a little one-sided. It
feels very one-sided.
Yes.
And what I have learned after 27 years of marriage and being with the same person for 30 years is it is not one-sided. The name of the game is compromise. And so, yes, you want the person to get you, but you've got to get the other person. And there are times when something that is innate to you, like you want this, but you see that your partner needs something else. If there is a great love there and a great affection, then you give that piece and you put it on the shelf and you give what the other person needs. And so I think Jennifer needs to sort of be a little bit more introspective about what it means to be in a love relationship, a partnership, a marriage, because it's just not all about you. I've compromised on things that I thought I would never, ever, ever compromise on, but you do that because you love the other person so much. It's just not it's not,
I have to ask for
an example. You're
not
the star
now.
of the relationship.
Well, she might be the star of the relationship. That's the thing. She's
not.
Jennifer Lopez.
You're just the partner of someone else.
What have you compromised on that you never thought?
So many things. I make compromises all the time. A lot of it is around money because he's frugal, but I know that it's good for me because he's making sure that we are able to, pay our bills and able to I take care of my mom and things like that. And I do it sometimes around things I want to do. I'm very good at actively resting. I think rest is important.
Agreed.
And my husband is not good at that. And it's always, want to go for a walk? Want to do this 5K? Want to go skiing? I would rather just sit in the hot tub. But I know that that's a love language of his. And I know that if I go for the darn 3-mile walk with the dogs, it will make him happy. And I see a better version of him.
Oh, that's great.
And so I make that compromise. I'd rather be having a mimosa.
And what's a compromise he makes for you?
He makes so many of them. He makes so many of them. I think they're similar. I think that there have been times when, I want to buy something for the house and he thinks it's ridiculous. And he's like, okay, let's do it, because in a marriage, everything's together.
Sure.
And with the kids too. we have very different ideas, have always had, in terms of raising our kids. Like, for example, I was raised in a household of if you can make the case for something you want to do and it's convincing, then you can do it.
Right.
In Manny's household, it was very strict, although mine was as well. And it was because I told you so.
Yeah, you weren't questioning it. You weren't lawyering your way out of something.
No. And so I raised the kids like, oh, Mom, can I have this sleepover? I don't really like the sleepover stuff. So I would say, why? Who is it? What will you gain? What will you lose? What could you lose? What's family like? Do you know the
Sure.
where they live? Things like that. And so he's had to become a little squishier. He's very rigid, and he's had to become a little squishier in terms. And like, I don't have a problem with pursuing the arts. I think you pursue whatever lights you up. And both of our kids are creatives, but one's an entrepreneur, one's an artist. Manny would very much like them just to freaking go to graduate school and follow a very linear path. And neither of them are going to do it. He blames me.
Sure.
Probably true. But I think that if you don't walk in your purpose and in your passion, then you're unhappy. You spend so much time at work, more time than you spend at home. And so that's something he's really had to compromise. Yeah.
No, I mean, I agree 100%. Marriage is about compromise. And one of these days, my wife's going to make one.
I was going to say,
excited.
Does Heather compromise?
It's going to come. We're 22 years in.
She's got to compromise on something.
It's going to happen. It's going to happen.
She's got to compromise on something.
I occasionally get the vacation I want and stuff like that.
Yeah.
That happens.
And you're getting the stuff done in the house that you want.
Yeah, that's more what you wanted. I got the pool. Yeah.
You got the pool.
I got the pool.
Brian.
All right.
And that's big.
That's big. No, that'll be good. That'll be good. All right. Speaking of marriage, a woman wrote into Reddit to ask advice on how to handle the fact that her husband won't tell her what he earns. This is interesting.
Oh.
She said that he won't show her bank accounts or statements and even bought their home without telling her.
Oh.
Do you think married couples need to be completely transparent about their finances?
Oh, yes.
I think so.
If you look at the studies, the top 3 reasons that people get divorced are sex, raising children, and money. All of which I brought 2 out of the 3 up, right, in terms of the compromise. And there's just no way. What people don't realize is marriage is like a legally binding contract.
Yeah.
And so you have to be completely transparent with finances, because you have to file taxes together. And even if you file them married but separate, see, everything goes back to the law for me.
Of course.
If you file married but separate, all the money is together almost in every state. So I just
do think a lot of couples
see.
just put something in front of them and just, hey, sign this and go on and don't pay attention.
Well,
and don't
what's
look
interesting is that Manny did try to do that when we first got married. And because, I grew up in a different socioeconomic class, his parents were both physicians. He seemed to know a lot about money and property. And I like, as a lawyer, let him do the taxes at first. And then I was like, what am I doing? He's like a doctor. Like, he doesn't know anything about that. and I started asking him, like, well, how much, do you make? And he was like, why are you asking?
Oh.
And that was about 2 years in. And I was like, hey, dude, if you can't tell me how much you're making, this is not going to work out.
Right.
And it was he said he didn't even think his father told his mother how much he made. Which was fascinating to me. And we did have that very hard discussion. And ultimately, we have an accountant that does does all that for us now. But we hired an accountant maybe 5 years into our marriage, because that was a big bone of contention, that he was less than transparent, in my opinion, in terms of he was a resident. He wasn't making any money.
Right.
But he grew up with the lack of transparency.
Sure, that the man
around money
handles it and doesn't talk about it. And,
yeah.
Oh, interesting.
Buy what you want. It's fine. Actually, it was never fine, but it was like, you bought that, okay.
Neither my wife and I had any money when we got married, so we just kind of came up together with it.
More than I had. Yeah.
Oh, it's interesting.
Yeah.
All right, let's talk about the holidays.
That marriage is going to fail, by the way.
Yeah, it's not a good sign.
No.
It's not a good sign. All right, let's talk about the holidays. I saw you were away for New Year's.
I was.
Tell me about it. You were someplace exciting.
I was in Dubai.
Fascinating.
At the World Sports Summit.
Okay.
And I was hosted by His Excellency Khalfan Juma Belhoul.
Ooh.
And he ran an Ironman, so he's very fit.
Sure.
But they ran this World Sports Summit. There were 2,000 people in attendance. It was like the sports Oscars of the Middle East. I had never been to Dubai. They call it the Vegas of the Middle East. It's completely true. I felt I had all these warnings, how they would treat women, and
I was curious.
I was treated just like anyone else would be treated, with the utmost respect. I thought that I would have to really cover myself, and I brought my daughter and my husband and my son. It was not like that at all, actually, unless you're visiting a mosque. Of course, you would show deference, just like if you went into a church. You're not going to, wear flip-flops, although I guess some people do. You would cover yourself, but I didn't visit a mosque. I was in business attire. I saw people with their shoulders out, crop tops, and it's a very cosmopolitan city. It's very sophisticated. I am now a huge football fan.
Really?
Yes.
Wow.
I met the legends and icons of football. Mm-hmm. I met the guy
football,
who
F-U-T.
F-U-T.
Yes. Mm-hmm.
Soccer is not what it's called.
Oh, wow. Look at you.
And my husband, who was born in Spain, has been a football fan forever. They talked a lot about the World Cup. I met the one of the chief operators of AC Milan.
Oh, wow.
A football team in the fashion capital. He made me this shirt.
Look at that. You got a jersey.
Unbelievable. A jersey. Wow. Dubai, it's...
I'd love to check it out sometime.
You've got to check it out. I went to the Museum of the Future. They're all about climate change. They're all about solar. They're all about maintaining species. They had AI robots. They predict that there will be flying drone taxis all over Abu Dhabi and Dubai. Wow. They had a prototype that I was able to see.
You saw a flying car?
I saw a flying drone, like a helicopter taxi.
Oh.
You're
was risk averse. Would you get in one?
There, yes.
Wow.
It was. I thought that the technology was very far ahead of where we are here.
Wow.
It was sort of the trip of a lifetime, and I will be back.
Oh, that's amazing.
I also visited the Gold Souk.
Oh. How was that?
It may have been my favorite part.
You love gold.
It was really
nice. Right under, it's diamonds and gold for you, and that's it.
It was really nice. I just think it's something that's interesting because not to get heavy again, but we withdrew. The United States withdrew from the climate, the climate, the accords,
Paris,
and it's coal, baby coal, and you go to a museum like the Museum of the Future, and you see how, at least in the Middle East, they're looking at 2071 and what the Earth would be like and what we can do to counteract it. And I was really impressed by the entire experience.
Well, my family and I visited His Excellency Mickey Mouse.
I know you did,
yes,
but that's like your happiest
trip.
Place in the world.
It was the most magical. It was wonderful.
And by the way, isn't Disney going to have a little project in Abu Dhabi?
They are, in fact. Yeah, big project. It looks like. Yeah,
I will be there.
All right, the view from Abu Dhabi. I'm in. Let's do it,
Brian. Let's do it.
I'm in. All right. All right. I have a note here that says you were disappointed because you missed seeing the musical 44. Tell me about that.
I was devastated. Well, there happened to be a snowstorm.
Oh, is that what happened?
On the day that I was leaving. And so it shifted my entire trip back. Mm-hmm. And so I had planned on being able to be here on the 4th at 2:00 to make a musical. Oh. And it was the last day of the musical about President Barack Obama, yes. Who I still have not met formally. I've met him informally, and I've never interviewed him. And so I just wanted some insight, and we couldn't make it.
I'm sorry.
And my kids were disappointed, and my husband was disappointed. And I just can't believe I missed it. I cannot believe it. I can't believe I missed the entire show. I've heard such good things about it. So my apologies to the folks that got me seats and were waiting for us to arrive. My daughter kept on saying, "Are we going to make the show? Are we going to make the show? Are we going to make the show?" And we weren't going to make it.
I've met the president.
So,
I've met President Obama
I
once
know.
or twice. My claim to fame. This is like my two truths and a lie thing. This is true. I introduced Barack Obama to LeBron James.
I thought you were going to say something like, I introduced Barack to Michelle, and I was going to say, no,
that
you
did not happen. And it's not like they didn't know each other, and it's not like they wouldn't have met anyway, but I was in the room, and I said, Senator Barack Obama, meet LeBron James.
Really?
And they were both very excited to meet each other.
I mean, I met Barack Obama when he was a senator, and he was about to announce his candidacy, and Cornel West and Skip Gates, they were going to have this sort of, I think it was mainly Cornell, they were going to have this meeting in Harlem at a brownstone. And this senator, from the great state of Illinois was going to be there. And Cornel West told me, you should hear what he has to say. And I was like, okay. And I knew it.
Yeah,
I knew it then, right?
Yeah.
I was like, oh, this is different. And I believe this was before he gave the, we're not red states, blue states, we are the United States. I think it was before then.
No, it's my daughter calls Aura, but
or don't they call it Riz too now?
Yes.
Riz. He had that something. So I met him then, and then I also met him in D.C. at something. I met him on Martha's Vineyard. But it's all been sort of these like superficial touches. I haven't been able to ask him about UFOs.
I know. Well, he needs to come on this show.
And the area where they're kept with all the,
Area 51.
Yeah, they're kept with like all the people.
I know how you feel about this. I've had other people.
Aliens.
I've had other hosts ask him about it. He gives nothing up. You're not.
He gives nothing.
Yeah, he says no. We get nothing. We'll try, but maybe maybe now he's. A little
I
looser
haven't
with
asked Clinton or Biden.
Yeah, I mean you got to ask them
about
all.
Area 51.
You got to ask them all.
I'm going to do that.
All right, next time. I feel like Joe would tell you.
Maybe I'll ask Jasmine. I wonder if Jasmine and Marjorie.
I don't think she has that kind of clearance.
They don't have clearance, huh?
Yeah, although Marjorie might have some theories. All right. Thank you for joining me today, Sonny. Tomorrow, I am back with Joy Behar right after our interview with Congresswoman Jasmine Crockett, so that'll be good.
Oh, that's going to be good.
We'll be talking to her about a run for the U.S. Senate in Texas, and we will see you then.